Hello friends, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Neetu Jain, working as Associate Professor at Indian Institute of Public Administration, New Delhi. Today, we are going to discuss about the topic Making Training Section Effective 2. This is part 2 of Making Training Session Effective module, which was discussed in the last module. Before starting the discussion, let's have a look at the contents. Introduction, training model, use of icebreakers or openers, microlab, using games in training, and summary. After completing this module, the students will be able to explain the use of icebreakers in a training program, conduct microlab, discuss the significance of dividing training into 4 phases as per the training model, design icebreakers or session shakers. There are several things a trainer can do to ensure that trainees become and remain interested in the training. One useful step at the beginning of training is to review the learning objectives. This will help provide focus for the training, and if the needs analysis was successful, it will mean all trainees will understand the need to learn KSA. Another important step is to provide variety during training to maintain interest. Trainees' attention begins to decline after 15 to 20 minutes of lecture, so be sure to provide breaks, activities and the like to keep trainees interested in what you are saying. Keep a watchful eye on the trainees to signal time for a break. Even a 5-minute stretch can help. Trainers need to consider several issues for training to be effective. They must ensure that everything is ready on time, that they provide an initial positive impression, and that they gain and maintain trainees' interest. Training model. In order for training to be effective, training must be delivered in 4 stages: introduction, acquisition, practice, reflection. Introduction. In this phase, the trainer shares with trainees training objectives. Trainer conducts the ice-breaking activity. The learning experience begins with some sort of activity that ties into the training topic. In this way, all trainees begin by sharing a common experience. Trainer also tries to motivate the participants by using one of those principles of adult learning in this phase of training. Acquisition. Acquisition is a phase where new learning takes place. In this phase, trainer shares new concept with them. He provides them with the information related to concepts and principles of the topic at hand. This can be a lecture, a video, or some other form. For example, a lecture would describe how to develop interview questions related to job requirements. Practice. In this phase, trainer provides activities for participants to practice those learned concepts. It strengthens learning. They can practice the newly found skill. After the lecture, trainees work in small groups to discuss their experience based on the information they just received. In this step, the task should be more closely related to the actual job. For example, the trainees could be asked to develop interview questions for selecting someone for a job in the area they manage. Reflection. In this phase, learning is summarized. Trainer facilitates the process of trainees to summarize the learning. He helps participants understand how this learning will be applied in workplace. He also helps them see the bigger picture. At this point, it is important for the trainees to see how the learning is relevant to the situations outside the training. The key question here is, so what? The goal is to have trainees consider how this new information fits with the things they do back on the job. From the analysis and learning that took place, trainees should infer that Scout leader interview questions can be developed in a better way and be able to generalize this to other similar situations. Then the trainees should decide that the use of job related information for developing interview questions is appropriate for all jobs. In a 90-minute session, introduction phase should be given around 10% of the time, acquisition phase should be given around 25% of the time, practice phase should be given around 40% of the time, reflection phase should be given around 25% of the time. The percentage of time given to each phase can vary from topic to topic. Introduction phase can also vary from 10 to 15%. Acquisition can then become 35 to 40%. Practice can become around 30%. Reflection can become 20%. Today, most of us are spending 90% of the time in acquisition phase. We rarely do practice activities. We hardly spend time on introduction. This is the reason trainees are not able to recall and implement the learnt concept in on-the-job situation at their workplace. Icebreakers. Icebreakers are also called as defreezers or session shakers or energizers. Have an icebreaker to start the training. An icebreaker is a game or exercise that prompts trainees to get involved in meeting and talking with others. It is designed to be fun, but at the same time generate energy that will transfer to the rest of the training. The major reason given for not using an icebreaker is that it takes up too much time, but this assumption is a mistake. Icebreakers are also called as defreezers or session shakers or energizers. Principles of icebreaker design. The principle on which icebreakers are designed is known as fabulous. Icebreakers should be fabulous. So let us see the acronyms of fabulous. F means foolproof, A means amusing, B means bridged, U means unique, L means lively, O means optimistic, U means uncomplicated, and S means short. Foolproof, it means something which trainer would have tried before. He should have practiced it before directly implementing it in a training session. Amusing, it should be fun. Icebreaker should be interesting one. It should not take trainees back to their shells. Bridged, icebreaker should be able to link the topic on which training is provided. Unique, unique means an icebreaker which has not been used before by the same group. Lively, lively means it should involve some sort of physical activity. Optimistic, it should not have a negative connotation, it should not make the group negative. U means uncomplicated, it should be easily understood by the trainees, it should not be complex. S, short, it should not be very lengthy. The purpose of icebreakers is to help participants to open up and to link them up to the topic and to take away the lethargy. In a 90-minute session, 10 minutes should be introduction and ice breaking should not be more than 5 minutes. Microlab. Microlab can be used in the beginning of the program. A microlab is a self-contained package of exercises used to prepare the participants to benefit from the training program. This term was first used in late 60s as an initial activity in the laboratory training conducted by the National Training Laboratories in Bethel, Maine, USA. Hence the term microlab. The idea is to give a concentrated laboratory experience to the participants in the beginning and to facilitate their learning from the program. It motivates the participants to learn and prepare for effective involvement in the program. Objectives or benefits of microlab. It unfreezes the participants. Participants cannot benefit from a program unless they are psychologically prepared, their apprehensions are shed along with their defenses and hesitation. They must unlearn many things that are likely to hinder their learning. Through quick activities, a microlab reduces their inhibitions and encourages their participative orientations. Next, it builds and breaks expectations. We all know learning is influenced by expectations. A microlab tries to deal with this purpose in the beginning. It demonstrates what the participants may expect from the program, learning from one another, learning from their own experiences, learning from experimenting, playing games for learning, understanding their own strengths and weaknesses. It maximizes learning. Through quick, short, fast changing activities, it accomplishes this task easily. It stimulates participants to think. Their curiosity and interest are aroused through unusual activities. When a number of items are used in a microlab, participants get intrigued and become curious. It enhances learning as it is learning through experiencing oneself and experience various processes, experimenting with one's behavior, mutual help through feedback, openness by sharing feelings, concerns and relevant experiences, and discovering, actively searching solutions themselves rather than expecting them from others. Proper setting for a microlab. For a microlab, we require enough unstructured space. Structured space imposes limitations in movement and intergroup interaction and also creates rigidity in the structured interaction and relationship. The space should be large enough for the participants to move around, form into small groups, each group being sufficiently distant so that each can proceed without disturbing other groups on its own. Conducting microlab. Participants can be asked to do the following activities in a sequence: walk around, form into pairs, share with each other's 2 strengths and 2 weaknesses. Once they have shared their strengths and weaknesses, they can again walk around, maybe on one leg. Again they can be asked to form into pairs, and then they can be asked to discuss with each other difficult situation they encountered in their past and how they managed to overcome it. Once they have shared it, they can again move around, and while moving around they can greet each other non-verbally, and then they can be asked to form into a group of 3. They can discuss with each other their goal in life. Now they can run around, they can form into a group of 4. They can share with each other if they are marooned on an island, whom they would like their partner to be. Once they have shared this, they can close their eyes and move around. They can make a group of 6 each, and this time they can share with each other if they are asked to take any animal form, what form they would like to take. Using games in training. Games used by a trainer should be linked up with the topic. Summary. This module discussed the significance of icebreakers and openers in a training program. Microlab can also be used as an icebreaker. It is learning through experiencing, experimenting, openness, mutual help and discovering. A trainer can use icebreaker in the introduction phase. In the acquisition phase, new learning can be imparted. In practice phase, activities can be given to trainees to practice the learnt concept. In the last phase of reflection, trainees are conveyed how to apply this information in their day-to-day work life. Thank you very much.